All right, today we're going to try and crack a code from one of history's most brilliant and maybe misunderstood minds, Nikola Tesla. He was convinced that a simple set of numbers, 3, 6, and 9, held the actual key to the universe. So what did he really mean by that? And what incredible technology did he think it could unlock? So here it is, the quote that kicked this whole thing off. It sounds pretty cryptic, right? And it's fueled, over a century of speculation. But here's the thing you have to understand about Tesla. This wasn't some kind of simple numerology or lucky numbers for him. No. He believed he had literally found a fundamental blueprint for reality itself. So, that's the big question, isn't it? Was this just some fascinating mathematical curiosity? Or was Tesla describing a real physical engine that could completely reshape our world? Well, let's dive in and see if we can figure it out. Okay, so first things first, to even begin to understand what Tesla was getting at, you have to get inside his head and this magnificent obsession that he had. See, for him, these numbers weren't just abstract symbols on a page. He saw them as the literal operating instructions for the cosmos, a language written in energy, frequency, and vibration. Okay, so now let's explore what the source material on this calls the Horn of Plenty. This is where we need to start visualizing how these numbers come together to create a really powerful shape. We're moving way beyond math on a page here. This is geometry in motion. So, most of us have probably seen the Fibonacci spiral, right? That beautiful flat 2D curve you see in sunflowers or seashells. Well, the 369 model takes that idea and adds a whole other dimension. It transforms that flat spiral into a three-dimensional vortex. Think of it this way. It's the difference between a drawing of a whirlpool and an actual real-life tornado. One is just a picture, the other is a dynamic, powerful shape that creates a pressure difference and actually moves energy. And here is the first really big aha moment. Get this. This isn't just a theory. The entire global power grid, the one we use every single day, is literally built on Tesla's numbers. It's called three-phase power. It uses 3 currents, each one offset by 120 degrees. And check out the math. If you sum the digits of 120, you get 3. For 240, you get 6. And for 360, you get 9. This creates a perfectly balanced, rotating magnetic field with 0 moving parts. It's absolute genius. And this really shows you the fundamental difference in thinking. Modern engineering is all about efficiency, right? It's about how much work we can squeeze out of a system. Tesla's vision was totally different. He was focused on getting into resonance with the universe, so the universe itself would do the work for us. It's a complete paradigm shift. Now, this whole concept of a resonant motor, it scales up. And it scales way up. From something small to the biggest engine you could possibly imagine. The planet Earth itself. You see, Tesla looked at our planet and he saw a giant electrical generator. He saw the Earth's massive, spinning iron-nickel core as the stator. That's the stationary magnetic part of a motor. And then you've got the ionosphere, that electrified upper layer of our atmosphere. That's the armature, the moving part. It's a planet-sized motor just sitting there waiting to be plugged into. And that is why his famous Wardenclyffe Tower wasn't just some big radio antenna. He called it a terrestrial resonator. Its purpose was never to send signals through the air, but to literally ping the Earth itself, to excite its natural frequency, amplify it, and turn the whole planet into one gigantic live circuit. And what's so fascinating is that this theory is actually grounded in real science. The Earth has a measurable natural frequency. It's like a planetary heartbeat. It's known as the Schumann resonance, and it pulses at about 7.83 hertz. This is the exact pulse Tesla was trying to get in tune with. So this brings up a really fascinating question. If this technology was so promising over a century ago, could someone be secretly building a modern version of Wardenclyffe today? Well, according to one theory, there might be a certain modern innovator out there, let's say someone with a knack for electric motors and some planetary-scale ambitions, who might be putting the pieces of Tesla's 369 puzzle together right now. This theory points to a series of really interesting patterns. For instance, SpaceX's switch to stainless steel for its rockets. That's an alloy that interacts with magnetic fields. Or the Mechazilla Ketch Tower. Some interpret that as a massive 3-phase electromagnetic system, designed not just to grab the rocket, but to lock onto its frequency. From this point of view, the companies involved, Tesla for motors, Starlink for a global grid, and SpaceX for propulsion, start to look less like separate ventures and more like components of one giant planetary machine.
And that leads to this theory of the vortex net. What if Starlink isn't just for internet? What if it's a modern Wardenclyffe? Thousands of tiny resonators in space that can't be torn down, all forming a global induction coil that's perfectly aligned with the Earth's axis. A system just waiting to distribute wireless power, exactly like Tesla dreamed.
And this brings us to the ultimate goal. Because if you have free, wireless energy that blankets the entire globe, you can use it to fundamentally change the way we move. You unlock what's called electrogravitatic propulsion. Now, this isn't about pushing against the air with wings or the ground with wheels. This is about creating a pressure difference in the very fabric of space itself. You use that 369 magnetic vortex to create a low-pressure zone in front of the vehicle, and then you just fall into it. And the mechanics of it are just incredibly elegant. To hover, the three-phase field is in perfect balance. To move, you just slightly delay one of those phases, which tilts the magnetic tornado. The vehicle is then silently pulled into that low-pressure zone it just created. No engine, no friction, and because you're basically inside a bubble of stable space, no G-forces. The implications are just staggering. Roads would become obsolete, replaced by invisible magnetic pathways in the sky. The cost of transportation would drop to almost zero, which could potentially solve problems like scarcity and poverty. You wouldn't own a car anymore. You just summon an AI-piloted pod that could take you across a continent in just minutes. And so, we'll end with that thought. Maybe Tesla's 3, 6, and 9 were never just about numbers. Maybe they are the blueprint for a frictionless society, where energy and distance are no longer barriers to anything. So if we finally turn this key, what else about our civilization could be completely and utterly transformed?